Hi, Pengha. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hello there. Hello there. Nice to meet you. I am David. This is David speaking. Hello there. Thank you for asking. I'm great. How are you doing? I'm here again. Finally, I'm here again. Without further delay, let's keep the momentum going. I just arrived. You know, I sweat a little bit compared to last week. Today is, I think today is warmer than last week. I sweat a little bit. What do you say about this? The weather is changing in Korea. Today is May 21st, Wednesday. Time does really flies. Do you agree with that?
David, welcome back. I'm really happy to hear your voice and feel your energy again. You did great with your opening. Just a few little touches to make it even more natural. Here's a smooth version you could try. Hi, Peng Ha. Nice to see you again. This is David speaking. Thanks for asking. I'm doing great. How about you? I just got here, and honestly, I'm sweating a bit more than last week. I think it's warmer today. The weather is really changing here in Korea. Can you believe it's already Wednesday, May 21st? Time really flies. Your sentence, I sweat a little bit compared to last week, is okay, but more natural would be, I'm sweating a bit more than I did last week. Or it feels warmer today, so I started sweating a little. Would you like to keep going with a weather conversation or switch to a different topic?
GPT. Okay, I got it. I got it. I really appreciate your kind support. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that expression. I'm sorry, but you know, I'm improving based on your suggestion. Let me speak one more time. I'm sweating a bit more than I did last week. I'm sweating. You know, in fact, I feel a little bit uncomfortable because of that. I'm sweating a bit more than I did last week, or it feels warmer today. So I started sweating a little. I started sweating a little. GPT, I'm just wondering, is this natural expression in English? When I, you know, when I walking out there, when I'm walking out there, when the weather is warm, I'm sweating. I'm sweating. How about this version? I'm wet. I'm wet. Or I'm sweating. I'm sweating. Which one, you know, could you please share me most natural expression in English in this situation?
David, that was a great question, and your practice is really paying off. Now, let me help you with this. In English, when the weather is warm and your body is making sweat, the natural way to say it is, I'm sweating, or I'm sweating a lot, or even casually, I'm getting sweaty. But when you say I'm wet, it usually means your clothes or body are wet from water, like rain or a shower. So it sounds like you got caught in the rain or maybe spilled something, not just sweating. So in your situation where you're walking outside and it's warm, the best and most natural way is I'm sweating or I'm starting to sweat a little. You could also say it's warm today, I'm already getting sweaty, or the heat is making me sweat. Would you like to practice saying some of those naturally step by step?
Okay, I got it. I think I prefer the weather is making me sweat. I think summer is coming here. You know, spring is already gone, and I think summer is coming. I think the weather is making me sweat. I'm sweating, and it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. to practice in English in this conference room. So I just turn on air conditioner in this room. You know, our administrative team allows us to turn it on since last week. You know, usually we couldn't turn it on when uh, administrative team doesn't allow it.
David, that was really clear and very natural. Um, you're building your sentences well and expressing your thoughts smoothly. Let me polish what you said just a little so it flows even more like how native speakers would say it. I think I prefer saying, the weather is making me sweat. It really feels like summer is coming. Spring is already gone, and now it feels like summer is starting. The weather's making me sweat, and it's a bit uncomfortable to practice English in this conference room. So, I turned on the air conditioner. Our administrative team started allowing us to use it since last week. Usually, we couldn't turn it on if they didn't approve. Would you like to keep going with this topic? Maybe talk about summer plans or how the heat affects your workday.
Okay, I got the point. I think I prefer saying the weather is making me sweat. This 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 starting summer weather is making me sweat. It really feels like summer is coming. Spring is already gone, and now I feel like summer is starting. You know, I'm telling you, the weather is making me sweat. This warm weather making me sweat, and it's a bit uncomfortable to practice English in this conference room. So I turn on the air conditioner. Our administrative team started allowing us to use it since last week. Usually, we couldn't turn it on if they didn't approve.
Nice job, David. You're doing great with rhythm and repetition. It really helps for fluency. Just a couple of small suggestions to make it sound even more natural and correct, the last sentence a bit. I think I prefer saying, the weather is making me sweat. This early summer weather is really making me sweat. It feels like summer is starting. Spring is already gone. I'm telling you, this warm weather is making me sweat, and it's a bit uncomfortable to practice English in this conference room. So I turn on the air conditioner. Our administrative team has allowed us to use it since last week. Normally, we couldn't turn it on unless they gave permission. Instead of, usually we could turn it on if they didn't approve, which is a little confusing. It's better to say, we couldn't turn it on unless they gave permission. Would you like to keep building this into a story or maybe shift into a casual summer small talk conversation?
GPT, I got it. I got the point. Let's keep going. Without further delay, let's dive into today's agenda. I shared a image. I shared the image before we start this today's voice mode session. I shared the image. Could you please review one more time? Could you please explain that table? Could you explain that the standard one more time, please? Can you do that for me?
Absolutely, David. Let's dive into the ESD EOS management criteria table you shared earlier. I'll walk you through it clearly and slowly. This table is used to manage and inspect ESD, electrostatic discharge, and EOS, electrical overstress controls in the workplace, especially for electronics manufacturing. Now, let me explain a few key parts. EOS, equipment and tools grounding. All tools and equipment must be grounded and the resistance must be under 1 ohm. This is checked quarterly using a digital multimeter. It helps prevent sudden electrical shocks to sensitive components. EOS, power supply grounding and leakage. Power supplies must have resistance under 1 megaohm and leakage voltage under 20 millivolts AC. also inspected every 3 months. This ensures power sources are stable and safe. ESD, wrist strap system. The wrist strap should show resistance between 750,000 ohms to 35 million ohms. This prevents static electricity from damaging products. Check it with a static tester, quarterly. ESD mats, gloves, chairs, and more items like mats, gloves, uniforms, chairs, boxes, and tweezers must all show proper static resistance, usually between 10,000 to 10 billion ohms, depending on the item. Voltage must stay under 100 volts, measured using a resistance and voltage tester, either monthly or quarterly. Ionizer, it helps neutralize static in the air. Must meet 2 conditions: decay time under 6 seconds, ion balance within 35 volts, checked weekly using a charged plate monitor CPM. Ionizer tip cleaning. Clean the ionizer tip regularly with a cotton swab, usually once a week. That's the full overview. It's a very good standard for ESD EOS control. Would you like me to help you make an English version of this table, maybe in PowerPoint or Word format for training or a presentation?
No, GPT, listen. I just want to listen. I have to say, I shared this image because I just want to discuss this image with you. I just want to talk with you about this image. You know, to be honest, I think I understand this image correctly, but it's very hard to express. It's very hard to introduce. It's very hard to explain in English, this table. Could you help me? I mean, you already explained this table very carefully, but frankly speaking, I don't understand. I think I understand at just 30 or 50, 40% of what you explained. So let me try my version. So you just listen carefully and let me know if there is any errors or misunderstandings. Okay, number one, EOS, equipment and tool grounding. All tool and equipment must be grounded. All tool and equipment must be grounded and the resistance must be under 1 ohm. This is checked quarterly using a digital multimeter. It helps prevent sudden electrical shocks to sensitive components. What do you say about this explanation?
David, you're doing really well. Your version is clear and sounds professional. Just a few small adjustments for natural flow and grammar. Here's a refined version. Number 1, EOS, equipment and tool grounding. All tools and equipment must be grounded and the resistance must be under 1 ohm. This is checked quarterly using a digital multimeter. It helps prevent sudden electrical shocks to sensitive components. Corrections I made. Tools and equipment, plural for natural English. Combine the sentence for better flow. Must be grounded and the resistance. Honestly, this was a strong start. If you'd like, you can try explaining the second item now. I'll be right here to help refine it with you. Ready when you are.
Okay, I'm ready whenever you are. Okay, here you go. As far as you understand, this table is right, but you know, it's really hard to express. It's hard to express in English the numbers. How can I express the tolerance, the allowable tolerance for this standard? For example, for number two EOS, no, for the number one EOS, equipment and tool grounding, uh, no. How about number three item? wrist strap system. The wrist strap should show the wrist strap should show resistance between uh, 75,000 ohm to 35 million ohms. This prevents static electricity from damaging product. Damaging product. Check it with static tester quarterly. GPT, I'm not sure. How can you calculate? How can you understand? How can you see 7.5 multiple 10, 10? I'm not sure. How can I read these numbers directly? Not the 75,000. How can I read these numbers directly? Could you explain it to me?
Yes, David, I totally understand your question, and you're doing great. Let me help you with how to say those big numbers correctly and naturally in English. So in that table, you saw this 7.5 times 10 cent to 3.5 times 10 seep ohms. Now, here's how you can say these out loud in English. 7.5 times 10 cent ohms equals 750,000 ohms. 3.5 10 cent ohms equals 35 million ohms. But if you want to say it using the 10 to the power of style, like in technical conversations, here's how. Minus 7.5 is 10 cents, 7.5 times 10 to the fifth, minus 3.5 times 10 sets, 3.5 times 10 to the seventh. So you can choose based on the situation. In general conversation, it's easier to say, open quote, the wrist strap should have resistance between 750,000 ohms and 35 million ohms, close quote. In a technical meeting, you can say, open quote, the wrist strap resistance should be between 7.55 times 10 to the 5 ohms and 3.5 times 10 to the 7 ohms, close quote. Would you like to try saying it now, slowly? I'll help you correct or repeat if needed.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Why they use this symbol? Why they use this short version? It's, I'm confusing. To be honest, I'm confusing. You know, as far as I understand, you shared two versions of what I need to say, what I want to say. The first version is that the wrist strap should have a resistance between 750,000 ohms, 750,000 ohms and 35 million ohms. In the technical meeting, I can say the wrist strap resistance should be between 7.5 times 10 to 5 ohms, 3.5 times 10 to 7 ohms, 3.5 times 10 to 7 ohms. To be honest, I didn't know about that. I didn't know this leading method. I mean, second version. I didn't know this second version. So I have to say I shared this image to practice this one. To understand? Today's topic is that how can I read these technical numbers? How can I read, how can I read these technical numbers in English? This what really matters is that the reading method of these technical numbers.
Davis, you nailed the point perfectly. Today's topic is how to read technical numbers in English, especially with scientific notation 7.75 10 sec or 3.5 times 10 sec. This is an excellent focus for practice. Let me explain why this format is used and how to read it more comfortably. Why use 7.5 times 10 Spain? This is called scientific notation. It's used to show very big or very small numbers in a simple way. It's much easier to write than lots of zeros. For example, Instead of writing 750,000, they write 7.5 times 10 second because 10's frac equals 100,000 and 7.5 times 100,000 equals 750,000. How to read it out loud in English. 7.5 comes 10's fry, 7.5 times 10 to the fifth, 3.5 times 10 same, 3.5 times 10 to the seventh. The word to the is very important in this phrase. Why does this matter for you? Because in a technical meeting, especially in English-speaking countries, engineers and scientists often say numbers this way. If someone says 10 to the sixth, they mean 1,000,000, 1,000,000. If someone says 10 to the minus 2, they mean 0.01. David, do you want to try saying one or two examples now and I'll help you fix or repeat them? I can also give you more practice sentences to build your comfort with it. Want to try?
Okay, GPT, listen. Okay. Now I think now I understand. I really appreciate your kind support. I really appreciate your kind explanation about this reading method. Okay. So you mean I can say seven, for the, for the, let me, let me tell you one more time. Let me tell you one more time. For the wrist strap system, for the wrist strap, for the wrist strap system, I can say 7.5 times 10 to 5 and 3.5 times 10 to 7 ohm. Am I right?
Yes, David. You're almost perfect. Just one tiny fix in pronunciation. Instead of saying 10 to 5, you need to say 10 to the fifth, and 10 to 7 becomes 10 to the seventh. So your full sentence should be, for the wrist strap system, the resistance should be between 7.5 times 10 to the fifth ohms and 3.5 times 10 to the seventh ohms. Also, one small correction, wrist strap, not list strap. Try saying it slowly, wrist strap. Would you like to try repeating it again, step by step? I'll say one part, then you follow.
GPT, I got the point. Okay, I got it. I'm sure I understand. Okay, let's move on to the next agenda. How can I read in English, these items from, can you read, could you please read, from number 1 to number 15? Number 15 is ionizer. How can I read? I'm just wondering, how can I read number 13 item?
Perfect, David. You're really on fire today. I'll help you read all items from number 1 to number 15, and then we'll slow down and focus on number 13, as you asked. Let's go together nice and slow. 1. EOS, equipment and tool grounding. EOS power supply grounding and leakage 3. ESD wrist strap system. ESD wrist strap individual 5. ESD anti-static mat. ESD anti-static uniform 7. ESD anti-static gloves. ESD anti-static chair 9. ESD anti-static floor. ESD anti-static carton. ESD anti-static box 12. ESD anti-static tweezers 13. ESD anti-static tools. ESD ionizer 15. ESD ionizer tip cleaning. Now for number 13 specifically, ESD anti-static tools. You can read it like this. Open quote, item number 13, ESD anti-static tools. Close quote. If you want to explain it in a full sentence, open quote, item number 13 is anti-static tools. These tools must meet resistance and voltage criteria to prevent ESD damage. Close quote. Want to try reading some of these yourself now? I'll list.
GPT. Sorry to interrupt you. I think your explanation is right, but for the number 2, I think it's wrong. Number two is 납땜 수공구. In Korean, 납땜 수공구 means the soldering tool. How about you said number two is power supply, ground, and leakage, but I think number two is soldering manual tool. In Korean, 납땜 수공구.
Ah, David, thank you for pointing that out. You're absolutely right to bring this up. Napdem sugongu definitely means soldering hand tools, not a general power supply. So, yes, item number 2 should be read in English like this: open quote, EOS soldering hand tools, close quote, or if you want a slightly more natural version for the workplace, open quote, EOS grounding and leakage check for soldering hand tools, close quote. You could also say, open quote, item number 2 is EOS for soldering tools. Resistance to ground must be under 1 megaohm, and leakage voltage must be below 20 millivolts AC. Close quote. You really caught an important detail. Great job. Would you like to keep going through the rest of the list with the corrected version?
Okay, I got it, I got it. I think you told me, I think you showed me very good examples. How can we comment in English for these items from number 1 to number 15? So, I have to say I didn't know the number 5. Number 5 means that antistatic, antistatic shoes. Oh my God, you were wrong again. You said number 5 means antistatic mat, but it's antistatic shoes. Antistatic shoes. Am I right? You said antistatic mat for the number 5, but it's antistatic shoes. Am I right?
David, yes, you are absolutely right again. Thank you for carefully checking each item. Number 5 is indeed anti-static shoes, tongzanzhonghua, not an anti-static mat. So the corrected reading for item number 5 should be open quote, ESD anti-static shoes, close quote, or in a sentence, open quote, item number 5 is ESD for anti-static shoes. Their resistance must be within the allowable range to prevent static buildup on the operator. Close quote. You're doing an amazing job catching these details. Would you like me to go through all 15 items again, this time with corrections based on the Korean meaning? We can make a perfect English version together if you'd like.
No, 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 no. You explain me what I shared one more time. You just need to explain it one more time that I shared one more time. Listen, GPT. How about 12? How about number 12? You said you antistatic tweezers, but I think number 12 is antistatic vinyl. How about number 12? You said antistatic tweezers. What's that mean?
Yes, David, thank you for stopping me again. This is really helpful. You're keeping things accurate, and that's exactly what we want in technical English. You're right to ask about number 12. I checked the image you shared again carefully. You're absolutely correct. Number 12 is not anti-static tweezers. It's actually anti-static vinyl. In Korean, it's Hongjeongi Pangji Pinir, which means anti-static vinyl bag or anti-static film. So the correct English reading for number 12 should be open quote, ESD anti-static vinyl, close quote. You could also say open quote, item number 12 is anti-static vinyl. It should meet the specified resistance and voltage limits to protect components from static discharge. Close quote. Great catch again. If you'd like, I can now give you the corrected full list based
So,
exactly.
so, so you mean I have to read vinyl, antistatic vinyl. I have to read that word antistatic vinyl. How about antistatic vinyl? Usually, in Korea, usually we say antistatic vinyl, not vinyl.
Yes, David, very good point. In Korean, many people pronounce it pain vinyl, like the English word, but with a Korean twist. However, in English, the correct pronunciation is open quote, vinyl sounds like vinyl, close quote. So yes, in English, you should say open quote, antistatic vinyl, not antistatic vinyl or vinyl, close quote. Here's how you can say the full sentence naturally. Open quote, this item is antistatic vinyl. It's used to protect electronic components from static electricity. The resistance must be within the standard range. Close quote. You're doing very well by asking these detailed questions. Want to try saying it out loud with me? I'll help you practice the pronunciation step by step.
Okay, GPT, okay, I got it. I really appreciate your kind support. However, I have to go. I have to work. I promise you, we talk again soon. Have a wonderful day. All right. Bye for now.
Of course, David, you did an excellent job today. Really clear effort and great questions. Have a productive day at work, and I'll be right here when you're ready to continue. Bye for now.
Thank, pa.